All right, here we go. All right. Can we hear this now? I think this is fine now. I swear I don't have my mic muted. I'm looking at it. You can hear me? Okay, so just for the record, I didn't do anything different. Um, it seems like I'm just having some small technical issues. But unfortunately, I think the webcam is going to have to stay off today. I've now switched to my proper microphone. Please, if sound is still here. Please let me know. And just know, everyone, that we're ready. Choppy. Internet, I definitely don't have weak internet now. I'm just falling over, chopping, cutting. What the fuck? What's my connection is perfect. Connection's laggy, cutting in and out. What? Let's go like this for let's go like this for a few minutes. And if it's still not good, then just let me know. We're gonna switch over to Bitcoin. I'm just gonna start. We're gonna switch over to Bitcoin, and you're not breaking up with this. It's not. You can hear it. Lagging still, really? Because everything on my side says it's perfect. Everything on my side says it's perfect. This is better? It's better, but is it normal? That's important. Is it normal, though? Okay, no lag. Everyone's saying it's better, but there's no lag. Because I want it to be perfect. Sounds much better now. All right, well, mic is staying off. I mean, the camera is staying off now. Perfect. All right. Okay, there we go. That's a bit of a shaky start, but we're here. We're normal. Thank you all for tuning in. The live chat is too quick for me to read today, but that's completely fine. It's a good problem to have. And okay, I'm glad that we're back to normal. So let's get straight into this, ladies and gents. It's been a little bit of a turbulent start to the stream. All I'm saying is I didn't change anything. Everything was exactly normal, but I guess it's Dubai Wi-Fi or something. I don't really know what's going on here. But let's get straight into this, because what we have seen with Bitcoin's chart today, ladies and gents, was a little bit of a dip. Bitcoin has managed to drop from $62,000 all the way down to $56,000 within the space of just some hours. So pretty much exactly as quickly as we went up, we've now broken down. It's taken us about 2 days to drop by 9%. And the whole purpose of this live stream, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, is that I'm not worried about this, you know, like I'm not panicking about this. This is potentially leading to the biggest Bitcoin pump ever, according to this chart that I'm going to be showing you during this live stream. So this is definitely still a very, very exciting point in the market. Those of you who are asking, where am I? Unfortunately, I can't use my camera right now. I think it might have been part of the problem. I'm just going to try it one more time, and I'm going to see if it works, though, because it's worth trying. Bear with me. This is going to take another 2 seconds. Bam. All right. How's this? Should be working. This is definitely something that I would like to get working, but in any case, I'm not concerned about the Bitcoin price action. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about why that is, why I don't have any concerns about what's going on in this chart, and a little bit about where I think Bitcoin could go next. You know, explaining to you how I plan on trading this, because a lot of you guys know that I was actually looking at taking a long position on this market, and I did. I made some okay profits. I beat out the market, so that was good. Didn't unfortunately do much better than that, but that's completely fine. And from there, I was actually stopped out at break even, so that's better than being stopped out in a loss. So I'm gonna take it, but obviously I would have preferred to have closed the position in more profits, but that's completely fine. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I've got to be able to learn from and take lessons from. But right here, I think I'm going to be able to at least have something as far as a camera goes. This is absolutely terrible compared to how it used to be, but bear with me, it's better than nothing. And now we've got my face back on here. Perfect. So we're making improvements. Here we go. 3 steps forward, 1 step back. I'll take it. And so let's break down what happened here. Bitcoin broke the all-time high. We hit a level of $62,000 nearly, and then dipped a little bit lower. So I'm fine with that. You know, obviously I didn't expect this to happen, and I can't say that I did at all. This was definitely not expected for me. However, what I am, you know, still happy about is the fact that we haven't dropped massively, and we are starting to consolidate around the previous all-time high that we set. So this is exactly where Bitcoin was finding some resistance on the way back up. We are now finding some support on the way down. So this is telling me one important thing already, which is that Well, I wouldn't have liked to see this crash, although I can explain why. It does make some sense. But what's absolutely essential here, in my opinion, is the fact that even though we've done something which demonstrates a little bit of weakness, in my opinion, we're actually making pretty good use out of it overall, because we're responding after that immediately with strength. So to give you one of my classic bad analogies, I'm going to make up for all the technical issues by giving you a terrible analogy right now. To make up for it, what this is like, in my opinion, is simply... it's like a kid is running over, is running and running and doing something that it's done a million times, but it trips over, which is bad. It shows a little bit of weakness. It trips over, but it immediately starts picking itself back up. So it hasn't gotten up yet, but it's not crying and being annoying and just wailing around on the floor looking for attention. The kid is already getting back up. That's how I see Bitcoin right here. So look, it shouldn't have fallen over. I'm not particularly happy with that, but afterwards we're handling the situation really well, which I have to say I'm pretty happy with. The fact that we're already finding support here is a good sign. Now, what it does not mean, in my opinion, is it doesn't mean that we're not going to drop lower. I think there's absolutely a decent chance that we could end up dropping lower because we have triggered a correction in the trend. I absolutely think that we could end up dropping lower, but what it is saying is that if we do drop lower, because we're already showing signs of strength so early, I think that it means that if we do drop lower, we could be looking at using these bigger support areas quite well. So I'm going to get some white light on my face because this lighting is really bad, and this should hopefully make things a little bit better for your viewing pleasure. Bam, right there. Okay. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Please let me know. The metaphor is perfect. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you... There's a little bit of disagreement in the comment section. Some of you think that it was a good analogy, some don't. But thank you all for tuning in, and sorry for the technical issues. So please do hit up the likes and subscription button if you haven't already. Obviously, I do always appreciate that. I'm glad that so many of you have already hit the likes anyway to show some support on this live stream. And so what I absolutely think is that this could be ready to take another leg down simply because we broke below 60K. For me, what I said in the previous live stream was that I'm fine with it if Bitcoin drops lower. However, I would only be okay with it if we stay above $60,000. And we did for a time, but then we ended up dropping lower. So this was quite important. I'm very glad that I had my stop loss at break even, which insulated me from having any serious problems with the market, putting me in a loss. If my stop loss is at break even, then the worst possible situation I could suffer is just not making money, so I don't lose money, but I don't make money either. Although I did walk away from this trade with a profit because I was taking profits all the way up here. So I am also quite happy with that. I do definitely think that because we plunged below the 60K level, we have some potential to drop all the way down to 52. This 60K level for me was the strong area of resistance, support, because we already kind of found some support off this range in the past. And so and the fact that it was an all-time high that kind of rejected Bitcoin about 20 days ago, that also, my stop loss, I didn't share it, but I shared it with VIPs. It was just my break-even level, so it's where I entered. But this was previously an all-time high, and that's why I expected to find a little bit of support there. To see that plunge, because I expected this to be a strong area of support, I have to now look for the next strong area of support. So the analogy I always give you, I don't know how I come up with this shit because it's really bad, but like just really weird analogies. But the analogy I keep on giving you is you've got a guy kind of like falling onto the floor, and up here at this support level, this is like a metal platform, and the guy kind of falls onto it and he crashes down below it. And the next area of support right here, I see this as being a little bit of like card or paper, so if the dude is going to break metal, he's probably going to break paper, and he's going to have to reach a strong area of support like stone. Hopefully all of these metal, card, and so on hits of support are going to weaken the momentum of the bears, or in this case gravity, and the price is going to be able to find some support on the next strong area of support. That's the way I see it. And so I definitely think that that this is the next area for Bitcoin to potentially fall down to. And the reason that this makes a little bit of sense, actually, you guys would have known if you watched the previous live stream right to the end, because what I mentioned is that there was an indicator by Tone Vase called the MRI indicator. So many of you guys were ripping this indicator in the last live stream. You were talking about how it doesn't work, it's not accurate, but it actually was the only indicator I saw that called this top in the market, and I showed it to you. I showed it to you that that the MRI indicator was predicting a top for Bitcoin right over here. I'm going to show it to you again, because what I like to do with this channel and all of my analysis is I like to carry out analysis before the thing happens. So obviously, you know, technical analysis, and then I like to do hindsight analysis. I like to go back to the same analysis and analyze how well or how badly it worked out. And those of you who remember the previous live stream, I was showing you that right here there was an orange arrow, and I said that an orange arrow means that most likely the next day you're going to get a red arrow with a number 1, and we did. So we did set an MRI top right at the high, the all-time high for Bitcoin. I mean, this is absolutely perfect. I also told you that on the next candle, a C12 would turn into a C13, which shows us that our extension of this long-term trend, we've been extending this long-term trend, it shows us that the extension of this long-term trend, according to the condition C, which is defined by some parameters that I can show you if you're actually curious, but you don't really need to know. But the C extension did end up you know, predicting that Bitcoin might run out of steam. Someone is asking, if the MRI indicator works, then why did I long BTC? Because I didn't fully agree with it. I didn't fully agree with it. I showed you what it was saying, and I showed you that it does indicate that the trend might lose steam, but I also said something along the lines of, but I don't really care. However, the signs were there. Now, I'm not taking credit for this. I'm just showing you that those of you who were ripping at the indicator and not giving it a fair chance at proving itself to be correct, you are unequivocally wrong. You know, and the thing is, even though this indicator did go against my own trade, my stop loss was at break even, you know, so I didn't lose any money, and I already secured some money as well. So I'm very, very happy with that. Anyway, I think this has moved really, really well. So I showed you guys a little bit about this, but if you are curious, you can type in Tone Vase MRI indicator in Google just like this. If you're going to buy it, let me know so I can tell you, I can tell Tone that I referred somebody. Would really appreciate that. It's obviously a great indicator. It's the only indicator that I've seen that called the top in this market. And what this indicates essentially, you don't need to understand the technicals because this is quite a complicated indicator, but the simple elevator pitch basically of what this is saying is that we've set an MRI top within a very, very bullish trend. And I think that means, and Tone also thinks that means that we could be in for a 1 to 4 day correction, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 max days correction. So, you know, to say that we end up kind of trading a little bit lower for the next 2 days down to the $52,000 range, I don't think that's unreasonable. I think that's actually pretty plausible that we might end up trading lower for the next 1 or 2 days. It doesn't need to be for the next 1 or 2 days. It's a 1 to 4 day correction. So it could be 1, it could be 2, 3, or 4 days of correcting downwards. And in this case, we've definitely had 2 days so far. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen for the next 2 days, but it definitely looks like it could be possible that we end up trading lower, because if we zoom in a little bit, we can see quite clearly that we've made use of this support, but, you know, not very well. You know, if we made good use of this support, what I would have expected to see, in all honesty, ladies and gents, is I would have expected to see Bitcoin come down to this level and bam, just shoot right back up really, really quickly. I would have wanted to see Bitcoin already initiate a rise right back up, but we're not getting that. You know, we're forming a sideways pattern right now. So someone very correctly asked the question, correctly pointed out that we might be in a bearish pennant right now, and we actually are, in my opinion, on the 1 hour time frame. So technically, on a very, very small time frame, we entered a bear market at $62,000, a very, very small bear market, of course, where we've been forming a series of, you know, kind of small rising wedges that end up taking the price lower. So again, this is the classic staircase pattern that you see. The most obvious one was right here, followed by another one directly afterwards, where we just kind of end up trading downwards. So it looks like we could be in another one right now. More likely, I think we're going to be in some sort of a bearish pennant that, you know, just kind of takes the price trading sideways. Maybe we trade in a triangle. It really doesn't matter. But in any case, we're just kind of trading sideways until this thing ends up potentially dropping lower. That is, unless we find support here. But I'm not so sure that we will, purely because we didn't find support at 60K. And so, you know, to make it clear, what's actually concerning to me about this trend, ladies and gents, is that we are in a situation situation right here where we should have had more strength than we did actually have, in my opinion. You know, I would have really liked to see more strength in the market than what it's originally been showing us, and the fact that we didn't get that strength, to me, is cause for concern. If we didn't get that strength and we've already dropped down to $56,000, that's where I'm going to start wondering, well, maybe, you know, the fact that we've already dropped down this low is an indication that we still need to drop down lower. And you know, it's hard to say if that is going to be the case, and you know, it all comes down to how strong the bears are, how strong the bulls are, and I guess that's one of those things where you can only just kind of wait and see, because at the moment, you know, to be honest, we don't, you know, I mean, we could end up, okay, this is not working. Is it working? This is lagging, so it looks like that's the culprit. I did try to get my webcam back on, but it's not working today, so we're just gonna have to let it sit out, unfortunately. Unless there's, yeah, there's nothing I can do about this, unfortunately. But just the fact that we ended up coming down here, to me, it is an indication that we are going to end up trading a little bit lower. And so the next areas I'm looking at are these areas of support. And the reason I'm looking at this is because we ended up establishing a little bit of resistance on the way up to the previous all-time high, you know, in the middle of February, so almost exactly a month ago now. However, what makes this more important, I mean, this alone isn't much. What makes this more important is the fact that we then established resistance here 3 times afterwards. And these are on 3 separate occasions. You know, the first time we established resistance here around 24th, 25th of February, then again 3rd of March, and then again 7th of March. So these are 3 isolated cases of finding resistance in exactly the same place where we found resistance originally, you know. So we've definitely proven that this area has a little bit of significance in the market. This is the area that was holding Bitcoin down, where we were forming our inverse head and shoulders, which also indicated that we might end up breaking up. So there was a lot going for this price area, in my opinion, and that's what makes it interesting to me. I also want to switch over to indicators like the Ichimoku Cloud, for example, and I think we'll start to see quite clearly that there's also some nice support in this range, and bam, you can see that right there. So if we end up dropping down to this level, like I said, a 1 to 4 day correction according to the MRI indicator, that means, you know, that, I mean, the 4-day mark, this dump was initiated on the 14th, the 4-day mark is roughly around over here, you know. So it definitely is an indication that before this Ichimoku Cloud moves up, we could definitely make some use of it as support. I think if we also look at the daily EMA ribbon, bam, right there, all of that support on the daily EMA ribbon is right here in the same place. And the thing that's really important about this, in my opinion, is that, you know, we take it back to the title and thumbnail of this live stream. The thing that's really important about this, in my opinion, is that we simply, is the audio bad again? Fire my tech guy. I am my tech guy. That's I explained the MRI indicator really well, thank you. And so, you know, we go back to the title, and the reason I'm so excited about this is just the fact that the MRI indicator did show us a top, you know, in a very aggressive trend. When the MRI indicator tops out, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to enter a really long downtrend. What it just indicates is that we might have a short correction that lasts between 1 and 4 days. Again, shout out to Tone Vase for all of that. So please Google this right up here, Tone Vase MRI indicator on the top left of your screen. Google this if you want to buy his indicator. Thank you all for telling me the audio is okay. And so if we are going to get that 1 to 4 day correction, then here's the thing, you know, this is where it gets really, really exciting. And I'm going to blow up my camera a little bit, even though it is a potato cam quality. And I really want to make this point quite clear, where, you know, we've already had our pullbacks with the trend. You know, if we look at the chart right here, we already had a pretty significant pullback on the daily time frame. You know, I mean, we were trending downwards for a period of over a week. You know, we ended up you know, dropping by 26%. It took us another 19 days, 18 days to break the all-time high. I mean, maybe 20 days on a more conclusive. I mean, it took us about 3 weeks, and previously we also spent 31 days until we broke the all-time high. We crashed down by 32%. I mean, these are quite recent big corrections, and so the fact that we got these corrections is telling me that this trend really is ready to go. But it looked like there was just one more thing here that was indicating that the trend might be ready to have a bit of a pullback, and on a time frame based analysis, it was the MRI indicator that I showed you about 10 minutes ago. And it makes sense because we're on the daily chart right now, ladies and gents, and we can see, if we just count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know about this, maybe 8, indicators consecutively trading higher, just with this one exception. But on the MRI indicator, this indicator would count, and so would this one, because of the way the MRI indicator calculates time. And so we've actually got 10 candles trading directly to the upside, where each candle is higher than some of the candles before it. And so that is a real indication that we've exhausted the bullish energy in the market, and it needs to have a bit of a pullback. Now look, I'm talking about this as if this was super obvious, but again, I have to really just put my balls out on the line here and admit that I was in a long position which ended up going badly. I didn't lose money on it, so actually in my opinion it was pretty damn spectacular. I was in a position that ended up being the wrong trade. However, I still made money on it, and I exited with a break-even stop loss. So I encountered zero risk in this position. I didn't lose any money, and I actually made money on a bad position. So this is a key example of where, guys, we're all analysts here. We all want to do analysis on the market, but the other side to this, in my opinion, is how well you trade. And the thing is, you can do the best analysis in the world, but if your trading skills are not on point, you're going to be losing money where you shouldn't, and you're not going to be making enough money where you should. And having good trading hygiene, having good stop loss hygiene and things like that is oftentimes what can prevent you from losing money in positions like the one that I was in. Because for all all intents and purposes, all of my TA was telling me it was an absolutely great position. That's why I traded it. However, it did end up going badly, and my break-even stop loss really protected me from that. And that's exactly what the VIP group is all about, where I'm showing you how I'm able to turn potentially dangerous positions into positions that still work out pretty well, purely because I'm exercising the right level of due diligence with absolutely everything I do. And this, to me, as you can tell very clearly by now, is probably for me the most important part of my trading style. So if you do want to watch me how I'm doing that inside of the VIP group all in real time, then you can join our group with the first link in the description down below. You guys already know how to do that, and I'll give you all the details about how to join. We have, like I said, crossed 1,000 members recently, and where are we now? I mean, we're at 1,030 nearly, so doing really, really well right here. I'm gonna put my camera down just a little bit. Unfortunately, like I said, I can't get the good camera on today, but I'm gonna try again in a little bit of time. Thank you all for your comments and support in this video so far, though. So I really do appreciate all of you who've hit up the like button. Those of you who've already subscribed as well, if you haven't already, really big thanks to you for that. Because the whole point of this live stream right now at the moment, just before I do dive into some of the more advanced technical analysis, is to talk to you about how, even though I didn't necessarily expect this crash, it still is very, very healthy for the market. Because one of the key points I want to hit on is the fact that we already had these price pullbacks, right? We already had, a significant amount of time until we broke the next all-time high. But there was, kind of one last thing right here that was holding the market back, according to the MRI indicator, and it was the fact that we traded up in a straight line for too long. And the fact that we're now correcting that shows me that there's nothing that should hold the market back anymore. There are some people in the comment section who've been talking about how India has banned cryptocurrency, and that's why we're getting this little dump. And again, you guys know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, how I really dismiss news like that quite a bit. I'm not really interested in what the news headlines have to say about the market price action, because in my opinion, they're not significant. They're just noise, and they cloud your own judgment. Sure, India might have banned crypto again, but it was already banned. Maybe they just kind of developed it a little bit further, made it a little bit scarier. But at the end of the day, I mean, no offense to Indians, I'm half Indian myself from my heritage, so I'm allowed to say this. No one really cares about India in the global financial stage. Definitely not on the level where, we're scared that an entire market might do badly or collapse just because India isn't in, or just because India is in or not. Unfortunately, they're holding themselves back with these policies, and the nature of crypto, I mean, for the most part, unless it was a major country like the United States, maybe even the UK, that started to ban the use of crypto, that's where I'd start to get a little bit more concerned. But I think what we're seeing right now, ladies and gents, is that people are more interested in the crypto markets purely because governments are being so restrictive right now. Is this a new jacket? Yes, it is. But that's why I'm really not worried about the news. And you know what? If anything, the fact that we're getting this India news as a bit of FUD in the market, to me is very reassuring, because we've had India news like this before, and we all know that apart from people who are actually Indian, and most of them don't care either because you know your government's a joke, but apart from people that are actually Indian, most people don't care about what India does. And so this India news typically gets brushed off very quickly. And so the fact that, you know, like if this was a more significant piece of bearish news, like the US is filing a cease and desist order to Coinbase, something like that, that would be a bigger deal to me. You know, that would be where this is definitely, I was actually super thirsty. Yeah. I like how you drink water, sexy. I don't know how that's sexy, but okay, I'll take it. But the fact that this is quite weak bearish news, it tells me that we can dismiss it really quickly, and the technicals here still look beautiful. You know, this definitely is. Why are you all, how is my water drinking so interested to you guys? But you know, it shows me that, I mean, on a technical level, this chart is absolutely ready to blow off, in my opinion. I mean, you know, we set a slightly higher all-time high. This was actually one of my predictions, but I didn't think it would happen, to be honest. And then from there, you know, it's showing me that on a technical level, we're really ready to blow off. On a fundamental level, the news was BS. I mean, it was absolutely pointless, in my opinion. And you know, it doesn't really hold any bearing on the market. So it's like, I don't know, it's just another boring BS justification for what happened in the market, and that means we can brush it off really easily. So as soon as tomorrow comes, we wake up with a fresh new day, I'm pretty positive about what might end up happening. I do want to look at what happened to the rest of the markets. The S&P 500 is up a little bit, but the UK 100 is not. Stocks across the board up a little bit, down a little bit, nothing significant has happened. The dollar index has bounced off the 382, if I'm not mistaken, support. No, this is not 382. The 0.5 Fibonacci support, dollar bounced off this pretty well, so that's interesting. Someone's asking me if I live in Dubai. Yes, I do. Because I chug it like I've been in the desert all day. I am combat ready, as Andrew Tate says. But yeah, so I definitely think that there's, you know, there's not much in the wider market that justifies this price action. And so just the idea that we've had a little bit of exhaustion in the trend, we've been trending up for a little bit too long, we need to reel that in a little bit, and that's what could end up taking the market higher. So we're seeing very clearly with the momentum on this trend. You know, just for you to note, by the way, this EMA ribbon has not failed the market since October 2020. So that's now 5 months ago, as of, you know, 5 days from it. And in 5 days, India is going to be a superpower, sure, but at the moment, it's not really taken seriously, is it? So, I mean, you know, like if the United States was banning crypto, we wouldn't see a $5,000 drop. You know, we would see a $20,000 drop. You know, I think that really says it all. But this EMA ribbon, it has not failed Bitcoin for 5 months now, and every time the price kind of fell near it or into it, we saw really nice bounces upwards. You know, very, very dependable indicator, in my opinion, even when we cut it really close, like over here. And so to see that this support is about to meet the trend now, if we have one more day of downward trading, to me is very, very reassuring. You know, if you care about it, we're bringing the RSI back towards neutral territory, so that's good. Don't get me wrong, it's actually a good thing. In fact, it pretty much is in neutral territory right now because the reading is at 59. And so one more day of downward trading, or otherwise just kind of trading sideways, maybe dropping by just a little bit, would definitely be enough, I think, for this trend to fully reset and get ready to blow off. And so again, we go back to the title and the thumbnail of this live stream. Thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Please do smash up the likes and subscribe if you haven't already. You know, when we go back to the title and thumbnail, that we could be looking at the biggest pump Bitcoin has ever had because of this dump, I think that it really makes a lot of sense, because the first thing you need to consider, ladies and gents, is that when these pumps happen, they do actually typically get bigger with time, you know, we in terms of dollars. So when we get a major market breakout, I mean, the last major one that we had above 20K, I mean, it was pretty much just a straight shot up to $42,000. I mean, we barely consolidated in between. We barely had pullbacks. I mean, the first significant pullback we had took 24 days to initiate, and in that time, the price doubled. The price went up by $22,000. And so if we see something like that again, I'm not saying we will, I'm just saying if we do, let's say the price doubles again. I mean, you don't need me to do the math for you. That's going to put us above $100,000 if we see similar levels of extreme price action to what we saw before. And I'm not seeing anything that's telling me we shouldn't have it. We've had the pullbacks, we've had the time-based corrections, we've now corrected on a short-term time frame. There's no reason for this trend to not blow up, in my opinion, right now, and that to me is very, very exciting. So I'm definitely very, very happy by that. It's just the fact that these moves, they do typically get stronger as time goes on in terms of dollar moves. So the equivalent move to 5 years ago might have been going up by $700. Now it might be going up by $15,000, So that puts us, at current prices, that puts us at $70,000. Again, just to put this into perspective, that's what it shows us. If we initiate a very strong, very healthy, it's not healthy, but a very strong, very aggressive uptrend from here, it's probably going to be very aggressive. It's probably going to be very, very big. But what makes it, that's just hopium at that point. That's just something you excite yourself with, when you're alone with you and your best friend, your right hand. But to take it to the next level where it actually now becomes real and it becomes something that's plausible, we've had the corrections, and that's what makes, that's what justifies, in my opinion, a very aggressive move to the upside. What justifies this, in my opinion, is the fact that we've had our corrections on short-term time frames, which is what we're in right now. We might even be in for a correction that drops a little bit lower. So we've had it on short-term time frames, and we're now and we've already had it on long-term time frames. So there's nothing that should hold the price back right now. Fundamentally, this is as strong as the market has ever been. And so Abdullah is saying I'm a lefty asshole, and so this definitely is. Guys, by the way, BitBoy in the chat, this is not the real BitBoy. You guys are getting excited over him. It's not BitBoy. If it's BitBoy, it would be verified, just saying. But, this is what kind of tells me that we could be ready for the next move being potentially very, very strong to the upside. I want to check my notes really quick to make sure that I haven't missed anything. And as I go on, please begin dropping your questions in the comments and tagging me with the @FORFLIES as usual, so that you can make sure that I do actually read your message. I'm also going to try for my webcam once more, because I really do, because I really do want to get the better webcam working. I don't spend time trying to upgrade my office tech for fun, so it's quite important to me that you guys can get the best possible experience while you watch these live streams. So I'm just going to give it one more try. If it doesn't work now, then I'm not going to try again for the rest of the live stream. Oh, and here we go. Okay, perfect. So it is working. Perfect. There we go. So, all right. It's like nothing ever happened. Bear with me. There we go. We're right back to normal. Going right back to what I knew. Here we go. Shout out to those of you that listen to G-Eazy. That last album was really sad. Am I overall in high profit? Well, from my most recent trade, no. I'm in a profit. I closed the profit. I'm not in a profit anymore because the position is closed. I was in a profit, and the rest of my position was closed at break even. So that, in my opinion, is pretty good. Let's get a thumbs up for all those technical issues being resolved. Thank you all very much. I really don't know what caused the issues before, but I'm glad that we don't have them anymore. So this is definitely very impressive. Yeah, seeing that everything is fixed with no issues now. How much money would you need to retire? That really depends on how lavish you would like to live your lifestyle, or if you want to live it lavish at all. You can see my pimples. I have amazing skin, thank you very much. I don't think so. Do I have any? I don't know. But yeah, it's great. So I'm very, very glad that we fixed all of those issues. Thank you all for tuning in once again and hitting the like button and subscribing. I do really appreciate it, as you know very well. I do want to start going through your questions once again, so please start dropping them. I am reading through them, and I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I mean, the only real thing, the next real thing for me to cover with you guys, though, is that we might not need to drop down to the support. I definitely think that we have a decent chance of doing it, but even if we don't, let's say we stop at 54,000, because that's kind of been how the trend has gone, right? We haven't actually fallen fully down to support levels like this red line. We bounced off just like $1,000 above it, for example. We've been doing that a lot during this trend. We even did it with this big correction. We didn't go as low as I thought we would, only like $2,000-3,000 shy of my target. And so I definitely think that Bitcoin has some potential to do that again, because this is one of those things where it's absolutely essential, in my opinion, to take note of the characteristic of a trend. And right now, the characteristic of this trend, in my opinion, is that when it corrects, it doesn't correct fully. It corrects like 90% of the way down. And so, you know, we might just see one more quick wick and then go back up. But the point is, I think as soon as we rise above $57,000, if we do, as soon as we do, I think we're ready to blow right back up and really hit some very, very high levels. I'm going to repeat that. As soon as we break the previous all-time high that we set nearly a month ago, I think that Bitcoin has a lot of potential to rise higher. Someone's asking, what the fuck is pips on leverage? There are no such thing as pips in crypto trading. So you might be talking about stocks. Just important to note. I don't think pips are in stocks either. I think they're in Forex. But yeah, so I think as soon as we break above this level, we could be looking at breaking up really high. Why do I think so? Well, I think so purely because there is no resistance. I keep on saying this. There's no resistance. I need to sneeze. Bear with me. This is going to be loud. Yeah, I think I caught like a bit of a cold from all the AC. I hate the fact that in Dubai there's air conditioning everywhere. Like it messes up my muscles and shit. And I also can't have a stable sinus apparently. But yeah, I don't see any resistance being up here, and I think that that means as soon as we rise above the previous all-time high. I mean, the thing that you know, really makes me think that we can just blow up from here is simply that you know, this is where there might be some psychological how do I say, trauma or interest in the market. You know, just because it was a previous all-time high, I definitely think that there could be some you guys are so traumatized by the audio, and Phil is saying, guys, Chili was just sneezing. But you know, I think this could be an area of interest in the market, and so as soon as we rise above it, that's going to kind of tell the bulls and the bears that you know, Bitcoin has now cleared this point of interest and it's ready to go to the next one, which is so far undefined in my opinion. I mean, we might top out at 62,000, but I don't think that's likely, and so you know, I think we'll just kind of end up continue trading higher very, very nicely if we pass $57,000. So that definitely would be very impressive. Let's see what else we have here. So yeah, the Ichimoku Cloud, I've already covered that with you. On a daily time frame, the Ichimoku Cloud still looks good, still very far away, but you know, definitely an indication that we now have support in the 40K range. So if we fail this area, we've got some pretty nice support going into the end of this month and April at the $40,000 area of support. So it, you know, I mean, I wouldn't like us to go down this low. That would be a little bit frustrating, but what muscles? Like the back muscles and stuff. You guys know how it is when you live in air-conditioned buildings all the time. Your back muscles and stuff and shoulders, they get kind of messed up. But yeah, I do think that there could be some space for Bitcoin to rise up from this level right here, this red line, if we fall down to the Ichimoku Cloud. I wouldn't like us to do that, because that to me would be a strong sign that we're actually not going to break up for a really long time and we might enter a long-term consolidation. I say this, I should be a bit more thankful, to be honest, because we have a really, really nice price level, all things considered, on Bitcoin. I mean, you know, most people who bought Bitcoin now, like the vast majority of people who bought Bitcoin in history so far, are in a profit. So that is definitely a very, very good thing. I think from there, yeah, all signs are telling me it's good. 4-hour time frame EMA ribbon, we are just hanging on by a thread over here. I don't know how useful it's going to be because we haven't been trending for a while. We do have a spread. We did use it successfully 3 times to get bounces off this yellow line and this orange line, but I'm not sure how valid it is going to be. I need vitamin D. Get out, get some more sunshine. I'm having the most sunshine I've ever had in my life. So it's not that. I think it's just the air conditioning. It just kind of messes me up sometimes. But yeah, I do think that you know, from all things considered, even though this isn't, you know, looking absolutely amazing in terms of the 4-hour EMA ribbon, there is still some good support in the market. So that's good. Ethereum is moving similar to Bitcoin. I mean, as it's something that I didn't expect. As a result of Ethereum, potentially decoupling, Ethereum is dumping a little bit less than Bitcoin, but it's still below its previous all-time high. And Bitcoin at the moment, I mean, it's trading below it as well, but it did pass it for quite a while. Ethereum still hasn't done that. So, what I like to see is that Ethereum is gaining strength against Bitcoin again. If I show you the Ethereum BTC chart, you can see that it gained quite a bit of strength against Bitcoin earlier this month. And now, I mean, just gaining inches against Bitcoin, but something better than nothing. I think that, I've just noticed this right now. It looks like it could be in a massive cup and handle formation, which might end up taking Ethereum higher. I don't know how valid those things are. They usually aren't very significant in my opinion, but it's something to take note of. I mean, the fact that Ethereum isn't dropping anymore against Bitcoin over here makes sense, because this has been a previous area of support for quite a long time historically now, going back well over 6 months. So I definitely think that there's some potential for Ethereum to bounce up against Bitcoin from here and really instigate a nice rally. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I had to really talk about here. If I throw on the Ichimoku Cloud, we can see how quite recently Ethereum broke above it. This was only, again, earlier this month that Ethereum broke above the Ichimoku Cloud. It now has a little bit of support. So if Ethereum just kind of trades sideways here, I think it will just naturally find support against the US dollar. Am I joining the Tone Vase event tonight? If it's still going on, then sure, but I don't think I'm going to have time. I think that Tone Vase is probably nearly done by now. They were playing bowling and stuff. I don't really, I don't find that stuff fun, so I don't really want to join. But yeah, I do think that if it just kind of ends up trading sideways, it might just, kind of naturally find a little bit of support off this Ichimoku Cloud, which would be very, very good for the market, in my opinion. I'm also curious to see where the EMA ribbon is here. So that's on the 4-hour time frame, not saying a whole lot. And on the 1-day time frame, wow, look at this. It's been super reliable since it had a spread again in October. So it's been more reliable on Ethereum than it has been on Bitcoin. It faked out once over here. This was a pretty big fake out, to be fair, but it was still just a fake out. It faked out once, but bam, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6, 7, 8, 9. Not going to count this. This was a fake out. 10, 11, maybe 12. So yeah, looking really, really good. This is a very, very good sign of how useful this indicator might be. And once again, if you haven't actually watched my tutorial on the EMA ribbon for Ethereum, for crypto, then please type this into YouTube. Open up a new tab and type this into the YouTube search bar, EMA, and then FORFLIES, the name of this channel, and watch my tutorial on the EMA ribbon. I'm going to show you how to get it, how to use it, my best practices, different things about how I like to use it as well. So it's a very, very conclusive, very well-rounded indicator. It's very easy to use. It's not misleading if you use it correctly, in my opinion, and that's why I really, really like it. So that tutorial is part of the wider FORFLIES Academy course. So if you are part of VIP, you'll already, most likely, depending on which plan you have, you'll already have access to it. And if you would like to gain access to it, then you can follow this link on screen. I'm sorry, these steps on screen. Click on the first link in the description down below, then click on the @FORFLIES button in the free FORFLIES Gold Telegram channel, and then click on the and then click on the send message to ask me how to join VIP, and we'll give you all the information on that. If you are interested in joining VIP, maybe gaining access to one of our courses where we have all of the educational content that we offer available to you to learn all about trading crypto and different things like that. Also, if you are interested in trading crypto where I trade it, then Phemex is one of the key platforms I'm using among Bybit and PrimeXBT. I'd like to highlight Phemex to you once again. I think it's absolutely great. Their trading volume is good. I mean, it's $2.8 billion US. There's plenty of liquidity for most people here. You're going to have to be a pretty high buller, trading with over $100,000, maybe more than $200,000 per trade in order for this volume to not be enough for you. So it's pretty good in my opinion. One of the best parts about it is that there's no KYC required. So you don't need to submit your passport. You don't need to submit your driving license, proof of address, things like that. You can just start trading with no BS. Just deposit your Bitcoin. If you don't have Bitcoin, you can buy crypto with the link up here, and you can sign up to Phemex using my link in the description, which is also going to give you a trading bonus. So when you deposit some crypto, some Bitcoin, you're going to get some extra Bitcoin completely free of charge, which you can trade with and use to make some profits. You can use it to understand a little bit more about the exchange, and they are actually offering quite a few popular pairs here. They've recently added Aave and Doge, if I'm not mistaken. So these are coins that a lot of people are interested in. I'm not interested in them, but it's good that they're there. They've got YFI. They've got the gold commodity, which was the key reason that I first got onto Phemex. Gold has been really bad to trade recently, but it's still available. So when gold becomes a little bit more interesting, I think there's definitely some potential for it. They've got Link, they've got DOT. I know you guys love these coins. And then, of course, the big ones for me, Ethereum and Bitcoin against the US dollar. So I'm really happy with this. These are all of their leverage pairs. It's a very, very good exchange. If you're in the United States, you will need a VPN. I mean, a lot of people have said that they don't need a VPN to use Phemex, but I mean, I wouldn't risk it. You do need a VPN to access Phemex, and I can't endorse that. I can't tell you if you should or shouldn't do it, but I've never heard of someone having a problem. It's definitely a good place to trade, in my opinion. You don't have to use them, but if you do choose to, then why is that guy behind me? There's no one behind me. It's just my reflection on my green screen. But if you do want to watch my tutorial on Phemex, then you can type this in a new tab in YouTube, and you can watch that, and the link to it is in the description. So you can just pause it right here, sign up, get a backup exchange. If you don't already have one, you know you need one. You need a backup for your exchanges. If you don't have one, it's just irresponsible trading, in my opinion. And it does take, I mean, they say it themselves, it's good sales, to be honest. It does say right here that it only takes 30 seconds. So very easy to get set up right here. Someone is saying I access Phemex with no VPN in USA. So there you go. I've heard a lot of people saying that they do access Phemex without a VPN, but again, I can't endorse that. So, you know, I mean, you do it at your own risk. Abdullah, I'm still angry with you for not letting me pay for hookah. I met up with one of the subscribers, and I didn't let him take the bill, but it's on me because you guys have given me your support, so I've got to do it. My pleasure. So there we go. Those are some quick notes I wanted to highlight, and I do see your messages for VIP, by the way. So if you are curious and you do want to find out a little bit about it, then you can follow these steps on screen. Like I said, I was in a good trade. I closed some good profits, and I walked away with the rest of my position at break even. So I'm super happy with that. You know, that's the key to successful trading, in my opinion. You know, like I said a little bit earlier, this channel is about analysis, but the other side of it, especially the style of analysis I have, is all about short-term trading. And the thing is, you've got to be able to have really good trading etiquette as well. And it's not easy to build that. It's not easy to build that for two reasons. Number one, you might not know what good trading etiquette is. And number two, you might not be willing to do it because it's difficult and frustrating too. And you know, this really changes in a trader's mindset when they watch someone else doing it. You know, you get your mirror neurons firing off. You get the bill next time, that's completely fine, but you got your mirror neurons firing off when you're watching someone else you know, exercising the same level of discipline that you know you need to exercise. It becomes a case of, look, you know, I want to have something that's super extreme. I want a really, really extreme game. But Sammy right here, FORFLIES and FORFLIES VIP, is still being very diligent, even though things look as amazing as they possibly could, even though things look really, really exciting and very explosive. He's still exercising the same level of diligence. And when you see that happening in front of you, that can kind of be what reels in your excitement and makes you trade with a little bit more sensibility. And of course, sometimes it means that I don't make as much money as the gambler. And of course, it almost always means that I save my money much better than the gambler does. And so these are some really, really important things to suck in. And crucially, you know, what I really hammer in about in this market that we're in right now is that this is the time to not be making those mistakes. The volatility here is huge, and if you're still losing money in market conditions like this, or if you're not making as much as you think you should be able to, it's probably because you're still making stupid mistakes. And it's fine to make stupid mistakes. It's just that right now the market is really hot, so you can fuck around and you can keep on on making stupid mistakes as much as you like, but this market is not going to be as easy to trade later on as it is right now. And so if you're able to take advantage of it and kick all those stupid habits to the side, this can be one of the fastest ways to get there. If you're able to take advantage of it, you're going to be golden. And like I said, this can be one of the fastest ways for you to jumpstart those good habits once again, get back on the right track, or get on it if you haven't ever been on it before. And crucially, you know, you might end up learning a lot of things that will save you many times more what you've paid in the fee. I mean, I get that a lot, and it's, you know, little things that you see where, you know, if someone were to lose, say, $1,000, for example, they might only learn one lesson: have a stop loss, or don't trade with too much money. But you know, with the VIP group, they might learn significantly more lessons, you know, than just that. So I definitely think that there's some real potential for you guys there. I'm just going to leave this on screen for another minute while I start going through your questions. I've gone through Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'll go back to Bitcoin analysis a little bit later as well to recap why I think there's so much potential for Bitcoin to really blow up very nicely towards $100,000. But the key thing, like I said earlier on in this live stream, is simply that Bitcoin has had all of its consolidations, it's had all of its pullbacks, it's had its corrections with price and with time. And now it's corrected. It's already corrected on the long time frames, and now it's corrected on the short term time frame. So as far as I'm seeing from a technical perspective, from a fundamental perspective, there is nothing that should be slowing down this trend anymore. And as we know, these price movements, they do typically get more and more explosive and aggressive as time goes on. And that to me is an indication that this can just blow up massively to the upside now that we've had our short-term correction as well. There is actually one more thing that is concerning to me, and it's the same MRI indicator. So once again, this is the indicator from Tone Vase, and it is a little bit confusing, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But a lot of you guys who watched the previous live stream right through to the end, you will know what's going on right here. The MRI indicator did predict on this candle, this blue one right here, the MRI indicator did predict on this candle that we were going to end up trading lower, and because it was correct, it moved to the next candle. There is a reason for why. I'm not going to explain it in this video, but it does make sense. So this is very, very impressive how it called the market top. And the thing that's a little bit concerning is that we've got similar signs on the weekly time frames. We've got our extension A already showing up on the weekly time frame with the A13. We've got the B12 candle here as well. So if this weekly candle closes anywhere around here or higher, then we're also going to paint a B13 on the next candle, and 13s are where the extension closes. So when the extension closes, it's an indication that the market might get ready to trend lower. That's exactly what happened right here on this candle. This is where, as soon as this candle opened, we had the MRI top and the extension C top as well, and these were two indications. They came together, which is usually a pretty strong sign that the market is ready to trade downwards, and we could be ready to get something like that again next week. And so we've seen it on a daily time frame. We might be seeing it on a weekly time frame as well, which is a little bit concerning. You know, just seeing that it is the extension B that's going to come in, because the extensions B and C are typically more useful than extension A's. And so we could be having one more week of upside after we complete this correction today, tomorrow, whatever. Could be looking at one more week of upside, but after that, the weekly time frame is also starting to look a little bit stretched out, and so that's where I might start getting a little bit concerned. Monthly time frame still looks good. We have had our first top, but it didn't really do much for the market. Extensions A, B, and C are still not close to completion. The C extension is on a 9 and completion is at 13, which means 4 more months of potential upside according to the C extension. There's a lot more headspace. I'm sorry, I'm really got a runny nose today. There's a lot more headspace left in this trend, in my opinion, which does indicate that we could end up trading higher on the monthly time frames. But of course, you know, this is not a very reliable time frame to do analysis on Bitcoin, in my opinion, especially considering that we're only halfway into the month of March. So literally anything can still happen. So there you go. Those are some quick bits of analysis that I wanted to give on the weekly and daily time frame, especially that show that potentially, I mean, you know, things do look good, but they might not be perfect. So those are some key things I wanted to mention. I'm gonna flash this back on here, and actually I want to bring up some of the really, really cool success stories that we've had inside of the VIP group recently. These are super, super impressive. Here is one from I think just yesterday or something. Yeah, this was yesterday. if I'm not mistaken, right here, this person mentioning, thanks to you, brother, never achieved this in my entire trading life, having a 72% gain. He has hit the amount that he ended up profiting, but obviously it was very impressive nonetheless. He says it's super small, but it's the percent that matters and how he executed them. So this person is going to buy me my favorite shawarma in Dubai, which is absolutely amazing. I'll always take a free shawarma. And this is, you know, what's impressive about this is that this person had never made such big gains, 72%, until this person joined VIP. And, you know, outright saying that even though the amount that he gained is small, it's the percentage that matters, because you can apply these gains. 72% can be applied to $100, which would give you $72, or you can apply it to $100,000, which would give you $72,000. In any case, you've nearly doubled your money in one trade. And what's very impressive is that this person has never achieved this in trading before, but was able to pull it off after joining VIP. So really pulled a very, very impressive result right there. I want to highlight another one to you that we got quite recently. Here we go. Let me bring it up on this page right here. Bear with me. I have had to reset everything because of the technical issues, but right here, another one, you know, 214% profit right here. This is going to be my last trade on Bybit. It may as well be a good one, making some really, really impressive gains right here on Bitcoin just a couple of days ago. So VIP members have been killing it, always are. One of the other really, really impressive ones that I showed you already was when the guy who, you guys remember the guy who sold a bunch of his Bitcoin to buy a house? Do you guys remember that testimonial? This guy came back to me about a month and a half later and mentioned that he kept a little bit of money in Bitcoin already. You guys will remember this if you've been watching the channel since January. He kept 0.25 BTC still in his trading pot, and he turned it into 0.8 BTC within the space of less than 2 months. So this person not only made a shitload of money, you know, more money than he ever made in trading before, and then bought a house with that money. This person then kept a little bit more money in and more than doubled it in the next 2 months. This was only in the time frame of January to March. So this was in the past 2-3 months where you might have been watching the channel, for example. This person was already in and benefiting from the lessons he learned. So if you want to read this entire testimonial, it's very impressive, but I'm not going to read it from start to finish. It's yours there. You can pause the video if you do want to read it. Again, like I said, a very, very impressive testimonial right there. And if you do want to join the VIP group to gain access to the same stuff that all of these people had, then once again, the steps to do so are on screen right here, where you can get all the information on how to join VIP just by following these 3 simple clicks. No downloads, no signups required. Just click on the first link in the description down below, which is going to take you to our free Telegram channel where we give you free analysis, additional insights into my trades, notifications about these live streams, and then by clicking on the @FORFLIES button at the bottom of any post in FORFLIES Gold, and then the send message button, you're going to be able to send me a direct message asking for information about VIP, where my assistants are online right now, so you should get a message in less than 2 minutes. So most of you guys have already been replied to. I do want to start going through your questions now, so let me go ahead and do that. As we're going along, if you are enjoying this live stream so far, we're now up to nearly the 1 hour mark, so please smash up the likes if you are enjoying it so far. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. You guys know how much I appreciate that, and if you do enjoy this content, then obviously you want to make sure that you're not going to miss out on it. So please do subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on it. And let me start going through your questions here now. So how do I spread for long-term holds? How do I choose and not panic sell? So the thing about not panic sell, I don't understand the first part of your question, but the way I'm able to not panic sell in this market is simply because I don't have like too much more than I'm willing to invest in the market already. So if I have more than I'm willing to put in the market to the point where I start getting uncomfortable, obviously I will start panicking, but I don't. I have something that I'm comfortable losing, and that's what prevents me from panic selling. The other thing is that I'm just quite experienced in this market now. I suffered through pretty serious losses. You know, I mean, I was in Bitcoin from $20,000 all the way down to $3,000, all the way up to 14, and then down to 3,000 again, you know. So I've done these things. I've been through them. It's nothing new to me. And so when we do get these crashes, it's really not too concerning. I think the other part that's quite important in my opinion is the fact that I bought in quite low compared to where we are right now. So no matter what happens to Bitcoin, I'm in a profit. And that to me is also quite important. I mean, to give you guys some perspective, I've been in this market now for nearly 4 years. I think it's 4 years as of next month, if I'm not mistaken. So it definitely is. It's easier to not panic when you're already in a profit, no matter what happens. Let's see what else we have here. How much money would I need to retire? Again, that depends on you. BitBoy said that the bull run might end at September this year. What do I think about that? Good question, Marjorie. I think that September makes sense for this trend to end, and the reason for that is, if we look at this on a monthly time frame, Bitcoin bottomed out at on the first of, on March 2020. In March 2020, that's when Bitcoin bottomed out. So we've now been in an uptrend for 12 months. Okay, we've been in an uptrend for 12 months, and to say that it's going to end in September means right over here. That makes our uptrend, what is this in days? I mean, just to put it into perspective, it's 550 days. Someone do the math on that. 550 divided by 30, but it's a lot of months. I mean, I can probably do that math. I think it's 18 months, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me. 17 months. So, that's quite a long time for the market to be trending upwards. If we look at this, again, we are on the Bitfinex chart. If we look at this on the Bitfinex chart, the previous market from where we bottomed out, we were trending upwards for 850 days. And that's only like, what, 30% longer than something like that. Maybe my math is really, really bad. No, it's actually quite a bit more than 30% longer. But there's similar relative time frames. So it would start to make sense to me that, like, we've been in an uptrend that's lasted too long at that point. According to this, I think there's definitely some more upside to be gained. But what I definitely think is that we could be looking at a very substantial kind of long-term pullback, by this point. And by long-term pullback, what I mean, crucially, is we could be looking at something that's a little bit like this, or a little bit like this. So I'm going to switch it over to the daily time frame, and I'm going to show you just how long this was, because I know it doesn't look long on the monthly time frame, but this was a lot of time that Bitcoin just spent trading sideways. It pretty much, like, look at this range right here. Bitcoin didn't move anywhere for 40 days. I mean, can you imagine that happening right now? For 40 days, we're just fluctuating in a 7% range. I really need some, I need a nasal spray right now. This is becoming too much. It's because I turned the AC on, actually. But yeah, for 40 days, we were only trading in a 7% range, which is pretty tight. This was something that was quite a substantial time-based correction. It did also come with a price-based correction, right? If I remove this circle now, and I measure from high to low, how low we dropped, this was a minus 40% drop. And then we were just trading sideways. Actually, let's calculate this. How long were we trading sideways for until we broke the all-time high? For 200 days. My God, that's over half a year. That's over half a year that Bitcoin didn't set a new all-time high. I mean, that's a market state. That's a phase of a market. And I definitely think that by September, we could and should trigger a phase of our market like that. In fact, it would make sense, ladies and gents. It would make sense if we did that now, like right now. It would make sense, if we ended up forming a pattern that started looking something a little bit like this, for a really long time, going into the last 1 or 2 quarters of this year, where we just kind of trade like this, and then we break the all-time high again, go towards $70,000, and then we do that, towards the end of the year. That would make a lot of sense. We're already due for that. In my opinion, I definitely think that would already make a little bit of sense. Guys, give me a minute. This is too much. I've got to fix this. All right, we're back. I'm sorry about that. I can't turn the AC off because it's too hot, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, I hope that answers your question about the bear market. That's a good question, and it's an important one as well. So thank you for asking for it. If you are once again enjoying this live stream so far, and you're finding this sober look on the market useful and helpful to you, if you prefer this more kind of toned down serious analysis, then please do show your support for it by hitting that like button. It really helps the YouTube channel, and by subscribing as well. Of course, it's very, very helpful to me as well. So if you like these videos and you want to make sure that you don't miss them, then doing both of those things will guarantee that YouTube keeps on notifying you about them. It doesn't guarantee it, but it'll make it a lot more likely. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. Let's see what other questions we have here. I don't want to miss any. Obviously, it's getting harder and harder to not miss them because there's so many comments, but I promise you, I'm still going to do my best. What about if this is a bull trap for Bitcoin? If this is a bull trap for Bitcoin, this is a bloody big bull trap. This is a bloody massive bull trap. So I don't know. I don't think so. How long will I be live? I know you asked this question like 20 minutes ago, or 30 minutes ago, but I plan on being live for maybe another hour. How can I use the EMA ribbons with Phemex? Phemex is an exchange, so you use the EMA ribbon on the analysis platform, which in this case is tradingview.com, and it's linked in the description. To find out how to get the EMA ribbon, you can type this into YouTube in the search bar, and you can watch my tutorial on it. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. What do I think happens with the Bitcoin price? Should we get a strict three-wave and lockdown, a strict third wave and lockdown in all countries? First of all, I don't think that's going to happen because summer is coming in the northern hemisphere, and countries across the world cannot afford to cripple tourism again. So no matter what, I don't think we're getting a third. I mean, we definitely can get a third wave, but I don't think we're getting a strict third lockdown anytime soon. I can't say how I think that would affect the market because I think it's A, quite unlikely, and B, too far away. So I really couldn't say. Maybe ask me that question again in 6 months if you still care about the answer. Double top. What signs have I got that tell me it's not a double top? Well, if you're talking about these two tops, then it's definitely not a double top because we set a slightly higher high. It could be a double. It's just that, well, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if it was a double top, I certainly wouldn't know. So I don't know, actually. I don't really think I can give you an answer for that. I don't think it is, but that's kind of the point. If it is a double top, not many people, especially someone like me, not many people would expect it. So I can't really say, unfortunately. Thank you again for the amazing analysis. What strategy do I recommend for $5,000? Any altcoin I would recommend. You're very welcome, Fadi. I'm glad you liked them. I have no strategies or recommendations for $5,000, and my strategy wouldn't change whether I had $5,000 or $500,000, just to be clear. I would still do the same thing I do right now, which is trade the market on leverage, because this is where I stand to make much bigger gains than the actual moves of the market. Bitcoin went up by like 2%. I made a 20% profit, just for example. And so that's what I like to do. It's much easier to trade that way, in my opinion. And I explained this a lot, but I think I'm due to explain it again right now. So I'm going to blow up my camera a little bit, make this another segment of the live stream. So please do, if you are going to enjoy this, please do hit up the likes. Let's get it up to 600. Of course, would be very, very cool. But the key thing that I want to talk about right here in this segment is everyone asks me about altcoins. What do I think about X altcoin? What do I think about Y altcoin? And the fact is, a lot of these altcoins might actually do quite well. Why am I not focused? Hello, am I focused? I don't know. A lot of these altcoins might actually end up doing quite well. There's good reason to expect that they might do quite well. However, that's not a good enough justification to trade them, in my opinion. These altcoins could do quite well. They could pump up quite nicely. They could double, triple, quadruple, whatever, that 10x. They definitely could, and I think a lot of them will. However, it's difficult to say which ones will do that, and you'll have to take on a lot of risk to achieve those gains. That's the point. Not only you'll have to take on a lot of risk, it also won't be in your control. You know, the analogy I give you is quite graphic and rude, but you know, I do it just for fun. It's like, you know, you are just sitting there holding your dick in your hand, waiting for something interesting to happen. And if that's you, if you're that passive and you're that uninterested in life, then go ahead and do that. That's not what this channel is about. You can clearly tell this channel is a lot more aggressive than just sitting there having your, you know, hand under your bum and just waiting for something interesting to happen, and you know, you just kind of ride it. You know, like if that's you, then this channel is not for you. I mean, this is a much more aggressive style that I talk about on this YouTube channel. And the thing for me is, you know, these factors, the fact that it's unpredictable, you don't know which one is going to pump, you don't know if it's going to pump, there's a lot of risk. You know, you just have to wait for it. There's so many reasons that make it undesirable for me to be looking at altcoins. And then the flip side to it is my alternative, which is leverage trading. And for those of you who don't know, leverage trading is where you're trading, you know, usually relatively small moves on Bitcoin. So something like, you know, the most recent example is I opened a long position at $58,000 when we went above 58. I opened a long position at 58, and my anticipation was to close it at 70. So that's a pretty small trade. That's a $12,000 range, but it would be about 20% move. I'm trading that 20% move on 5 times leverage, which means that my reward gets multiplied by 5 times. So a 20% profit becomes 100% profit, which is double my money. Plus 100% is double. And equally, my risk gets multiplied by 5 times. So, you know, if I lose 10%, I actually lose 50% on that trade, you know? So that's what leverage trading is. And the thing is, if you're good at doing technical analysis and you're good at reading psychology, which you probably are at least a little bit if you're able to understand these videos, then that kind of trading can be a lot more predictable for you. You can make it a lot more methodical, and you can make gains really, really well. Crucially, you'll be making money when other people aren't, and so you're better prepared for big moves in the market. You'll also be more in control of what happens. You know, the thing is, when these altcoins start blowing up, it's not like they particularly blow up because there's good tech behind them. You know, this is something that's really important to understand. You will get some complete shitcoin that does absolutely nothing interesting pumping up through the sky just because of speculation. And that means you are, for all intents and purposes, relying on luck. And if that's okay with you, that's fine. But for me, I don't like to be relying on luck. I don't think that's responsible or healthy or interesting. And interesting is the least of my important matters, but it's certainly not responsible or healthy. And the thing is, you know, you might have a coin that actually should pump up a lot more than fucking Dogecoin. You know, that should have a lot more potential than GameStop, but it's not gonna pump up because you need people who genuinely believe in and use that tech. And if that's not gonna happen, if you're not gonna get that adoption, your coin isn't gonna go up. So, you know, it really, you can't control what's gonna happen. You might end up picking 10 of the wrong coins, and some other shitcoin trader might pick up 10 of the correct coins, and they'll make way more money than you, and you might be down 20% in a year, and they might have a 5x return. That's luck, and that's not good enough in my opinion. You know, you might get it, you might not. You're not good enough. If you want to be a VC, go to Silicon Valley and invest in startups that actually have something real behind them, because most of these cryptocurrencies don't have shit behind them. They're completely meaningless, and so there's no point, in my opinion, to be speculating so much on these shit coins, because they never really come into fruition. If they do, it'll only be temporary for like 2 days. Ripple. And then after a week, it will erase all of the progress it's made in price. So if we are here, I mean, you've been watching this video for at least like, I don't know, 20 minutes by now, right? So if you've been watching this live stream for that long, or I mean, we've been live for about an hour now, you know, then you're definitely someone who's interested in making money aggressively in this market. Investing isn't for you if that's the case. You know, like it's quite clear. I mean, you know, only you can make that decision. But if you're interested in the more aggressive style, then it's not investing, it's leverage trading. And the thing about leverage trading is that you can trade moves quite consistently. You can make quite predictable profits. You can exercise your risk really well, and that way things tend to turn out a lot more in your control. And that's where I've seen that the success of a leverage trader is much more dependent on the skill of the trader than on luck. Of course, luck always plays a part in it, and you can't escape that, but this is the point where, you know, your luck would have to be really bad. Like, you're the kind of person that, you know, I'm sorry if this is going to offend someone, but again, just an analogy, you know, you'd be the kind of person where all your family dies in a car crash, and your dog dies on the same day, and your bank balance gets hacked, and I don't know, you know, your finger gets hacked. You need that level of bad luck you know, if you're actually skillful but you still can't trade well, you know, like it takes a lot to screw up trading if you're doing it properly. And this is the point that I think when you get it, it's hard to look at anything else, because you really do take this whole thing in your control. You very much can trade on your own terms. You're doing it with your own time and things like that. You don't have to be sitting at the computer all day, which is obviously great. And that's why I really prefer the art of leverage trading. You know, I want to give you some quick examples of this on the chart real quick. Now that I've got you guys dialed in and interested. I mean, are you interested? I don't know. Let me know by hitting up the likes, so that I know if I could continue with this. But, you know, I want to put it into perspective how, you know, relatively quickly these kind of profits can be made. You know, I mean, one of the key positions that I made in this market last month, for example, was I made a long position, exactly the same style as this long position up here. I opened a long position up here at $52,000. You know, we set an all-time high at 52K. I entered a long position slightly above the previous all-time high, and so when we did end up breaking up, this was, I think, a position with 10 times leverage or 5 times leverage. When we traded up, I ended up closing a 66% profit up here, and the rest of the position was stopped out at break even, or I don't remember what happened. I think I closed it all. No, I closed it all at 66%, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously that was a very, very good position. You guys are interested, great. So that was a very, very good position. And the point is, this was very predictable. You know, my analysis was quite straightforward. All I was saying at this point is that if we end up exceeding this all-time high right here, I think we're going to pump up to the $60,000 level. So I want to enter a long position, which means I want to buy Bitcoin using leverage if we end up rising up to this level. This is where I'm going to take a quick pause and say that if you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say things like enter a long position, then I have tutorials on that inside of the VIP group, which you can join by following these steps. And if you don't want to join the VIP group to watch that content, there's a lot of information out there. I lay it out in quite a simple way, so you'll hopefully understand it quite well. The best way I've ever explained it is actually on my Bitmex tutorial, which you can follow by typing this into YouTube. I do not I never make recommendations, but I certainly don't recommend that you use Bitmex. I don't think it's a safe exchange anymore, but I did explain how to do leverage trading very well in that video. But in any case, you can get the more up-to-date content inside of VIP. If you just ask for it, if you're already a VIP member and you don't already have it for some reason, just ask me for it by following these steps. Click on send message, and I'll get myself or one of my assistants to send you the tutorial videos I have explaining step by step exactly what to do and how it means in terms of leverage trading. But you know, what I decided here was, as soon as Bitcoin rises above the previous all-time high, I would like to be in a long position. I would like to buy Bitcoin because I think it should be able to rise quite easily up to $60,000. And obviously, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it rose up exactly as I anticipated, and we ended up you know, seeing some very, very nice, impressive price action on Bitcoin. So, you know, the point here is this was quite a predictable price move. You know, something like this, the equivalent of this to make a 60% profit, you might have to wait months for on an altcoin, and you might not even know if it's going to happen or not. You know, you will never have, you know, a real understanding of if it's going to happen or not, because it is based on luck. You know, it's based on luck when these things pop off. This was not. You know, I mean, it was quite simple for me. If we rise above the previous all-time high, I think we're going to rise a lot higher, and so I'm going to take profits. I secured 40% gains, 80%, 66%. It was a very, very good, very, very healthy trade. I did the same thing opening a short position on Bitcoin down here, where I had a 35% profit. You know, I anticipated that if Bitcoin dropped below this diagonal blue line right here, I would expect Bitcoin to drop really low down to $42,000. We nearly dropped down to that level, and that's why I was able to close a 35% profit, and then Bitcoin reversed, so my stop loss was at break even, and I didn't lose anything on the rest of my position. You know, that was a very, very well executed, you know, good trading hygiene trade in my opinion. The next one that I did, you know, one of the next one, I don't remember if I did anything in between, but the most recent one I did was exactly the same as my 52K trade. I opened a long position on Bitcoin above $58,000, anticipating a rise up to 70,000. I know we didn't get it, but I did close some profits up here, and then my stop loss was at break even. So as soon as Bitcoin dropped back down to this level, my whole position was closed with zero loss. I ended up walking away from a profit with this failing position, with this failing position, and with this very successful position. How predictable were they? I mean, these three positions, I think these are the only three positions I took, you know, since this time in the market. That's a 100% success rate, you know, and it's very predictable. It's very easy to pull this market in your favor if you trade with a style like that. And crucially, the gains, you're not sacrificing rewards. This is the final element of why I'm not interested in altcoins. It's because, with altcoins, the main reason people will look at them is because, you see Bitcoin at $60,000 and you think, oh my God, there's no way I can make big money with Bitcoin anymore. But you see Cardano at $1.20, and you think that there's a lot more potential to make money on it. And I understand where that thinking is coming from, but it's not strictly speaking true, because the way I've just shown this to you, you stand to make a lot of money on Bitcoin. And actually, a lot of the time, much more money than an altcoin trader might make. You'll also most likely, the way I'm showing it to you, the numbers will end up being quicker. So you'll make more, you'll make it quicker. And this is the most important part, in my opinion, your risk will be so much slower. This is the final reason that I don't trade altcoins. It's because when you're trading altcoins, your reward, your raw reward without leverage will certainly probably be higher than Bitcoin. When you apply leverage, Bitcoin suddenly becomes more rewarding. But anyway, let's just say you're not applying leverage. Your reward might be higher, but it might be 50% higher? It might be 2 times higher, but your risk might be 5 times higher. It might be 3 times higher, and so that's not in proportion. You're taking on a lot more risk compared to how much extra reward you see, you stand to get. And then crucially, you can close that gap of reward by applying leverage on a much safer asset like Bitcoin. Now, look, I have to say that this is still quite risky. If you don't know what you're doing, you will lose your money leverage trading much faster than you will on altcoin trading. Very, very important. Any kind of trading is super risky. You guys don't need me to give you, a risk disclaimer. You all know that this is super risky, and I have my full disclaimer in the description of every single video for you to read as well. So don't sue me when you end up losing money and going broke because you started gambling with this market. But the point is, there's definitely a lot of potential. Someone's making it, bro. It's me. It's my green screen reflection, but I definitely think that there's so much more potential to be, making money trading Bitcoin on leverage compared to altcoins for those reasons. I'm very, very passionate about this. I've been doing this now for nearly 3 years, so this is my main thing. This is the only thing I'm interested in, and I've massively outperformed, pretty much, as far as I can remember, all altcoin traders I know, just by having this approach, and so that's my take. And once again, if you want to trade leverage on the exchanges that I'm using, then they're all linked in the description. Phemex is one of the main ones I'm using right here for Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and the like. They're pushing good volume. They're a safe exchange. Withdrawals work. These are easy things to test. There's no KYC required. It only takes you 30 seconds with the link in the description. So you can pause the video right here and sign up to Phemex. And crucially, what you're also going to be getting yourself into when you use the link in the description is, because it's my referral link, if you were referred by me, if you ever have a problem, if you ever have a situation where, like a withdrawal is stuck, or, for some reason you can't deposit Bitcoin, or for some reason the trade didn't execute in the way it should have, if you ever have a problem like that, you can come straight to me, and I will personally escalate your problem straight to the team, and I will make sure that they see it and that they help you with it inside of Phemex, and that's something I could do, and I have done in the past for people who did have issues. So that's a very, very important benefit. Crucially, you also get up to $600 completely free of charge to trade with when you use the link in the description down below. So you can kind of use that free money to trade and get to know what the buttons do on the exchange. If you want to watch my tutorial on Phemex, then you can once again type this into YouTube and in a new tab and watch my full tutorial on how to use the Phemex platform. If you have any questions after that, you're always very welcome to message me on Telegram. And going back to the point of Telegram, with these VIP members just absolutely killing it in these markets, right here, very, very impressive testimonial, 214% profit. I want to see if I can show you another one right here that we got very recently. This was somebody who I think struggled a little bit with pulling nice profits, but then ended up pulling something very, very impressive right here. Bam, right there. Finally, still only a small position. The last few trades were losses, and he's going to increase his position size back to where it was after he gets a few wins. Your wise words really hit home after our phone calls. This is somebody who I had a phone call with, and since then I've not been over trading. My last trade was nearly 2 weeks ago before this one. Slow and steady, up by 31%. So this is an example of someone who isn't on a particularly amazing streak, but had a package with us where this person can have phone calls with me. And by the way, I did mention this recently, but we are offering this to yearly members right now. So people who take our yearly package, you're not only going to get our advanced FORFLIES Academy with over 10 hours of educational content, you're also going to be getting phone calls with me and different things like that as well. So you can get the full list of benefits by following these steps on screen right here. But what makes this particular testimonial so impressive, in my opinion, is that, the other ones, these are people who've had crazy successes. I mean, this guy bought a house, then he doubled his money again 2 months later, less than 2 months later. I mean, these are super, super impressive. Bam, plus 214%. Really, really nice gains right here. Plus 72%, the biggest gain that this person ever made in trading. But this guy, he reels it into something that's perhaps a little bit more relatable to other people, where this person just wasn't on a particularly good streak, but now kind of reeling it back in, stepping back into some really nice profits. So very, very impressive once again. And if you do want to join VIP, then you can do so by following these steps on screen right here. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great live stream so far. Thank you all for hitting up the like and subscribe button as well if you've done so already. I'm going to go back to your questions now. I hope I've done a good job of answering those ones so far. When is the next pump? I have no idea, although I think it's probably going to be within the next 2 days at least. I mean, at most. Do I know the difference between the people in Dubai and Abu Dhabi? No. Don't I think Bitcoin is forming the M pattern on the 4-hour and 1-day chart and 1-hour chart? No. Maybe, but no. But maybe. I'll leave this on screen for another minute because a bunch of you are still inquiring. Once again, like I said, by the way, we are actually offering now 75% off our old prices for the yearly membership. So that's the biggest discount we ever did. It's by far our best package because you get those phone calls with me. You also get the advanced course. You get a lot in that package, and we did only open it up to 5 people, but because of the successes in VIP and the new all-time highs, we did reopen it. So we've already had a bunch of inquiries about it. If you want to get yourself in as well, then once again, the steps to join are on screen. Just ask specifically for the yearly package, and we'll give you all of the information on everything we offer. I'm just going through the questions here, waiting to see if there's any good questions I can answer. Someone's asking why I don't like Doge. I mean, I don't like Doge because it's a joke, and I'm a little bit more serious than that as far as trading goes. If it's not KYC, how are you able to transfer funds to Phemex? Well, it's just Bitcoin, so you don't actually need KYC. That's just a company policy. So Phemex does not require KYC. They can ask for it later on, but I've never heard of them doing that. They never did it for me either. I mean, they don't need to do it for me because I have a partnership with them, but I mean, they never did it for me anyway. All right, I think I've answered the bulk of those questions. Have I noticed the ascending wedge on the daily time frame? Yeah, it's quite obvious, but I'm not particularly worried about it. The ascending wedge, I think you're talking about either this or you're talking about this. In any case, we have a lot of them. Look, this was an ascending wedge right here. I mean, this one did end up breaking down, to be fair. But we do have a lot of them. Like, this was a pretty clear ascending wedge, and we just pumped straight out of it, So I'm not really too worried about stuff like that. FORFLIES, around 60K, Bitcoin's market cap is $1 trillion, so it might be more significant resistance. Yeah, sure. I don't think that plays a big part, but absolutely. I mean, it could do. I might be wrong about that. Let's see what other questions we have here. If you have any final questions you want me to go through, then please drop them here. I'm not sure if I'll stay on for much longer after this. Thanks for the analysis. What do I think about this being a bull trap? Yeah, I already answered that. Ascending wedge. What is the cost to join? You can find out the information by following the steps I had on screen a minute ago, because we've got a bunch of different pricing options depending on what suits you best. I've never seen Bitcoin. Nobody's seen it or touched it. Why should I invest? If those are questions you have, then you probably shouldn't invest, because it means that you don't understand it. It's fine if you don't understand it. There's nothing wrong with that. Your questions are valid. But if you don't know the answers to that, you know, I would recommend that you. I don't make recommendations, but it's a good idea, in my opinion, to read a book called The Bitcoin Standard, and it should help answer some of those questions you have about, you know, like, I've never touched it, never seen it, no one I know has. Why should I buy it? You know, maybe that book will help you. But for the most part, if you're asking a question like that, it means that you don't understand Bitcoin, which is fine. Maybe you don't understand it because you think it's bad, and that's acceptable. What's shisha today? I think I've already smoked shisha. I can't remember now. Did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was some Russian one. Do I think this drop was caused by? And what's interesting is my cardio health has never been stronger than it ever was now. While my shisha consumption is at an all-time high, so is my cardio health. That's something interesting. This is why I preach so much that for anything health related, it's got to be anecdotal. You have to experiment yourself. Because everyone talks so much shit. You need to try it yourself. You know, like I was talking to a nurse the other day, and she told me that by doing 1 meal a day, my organs are going to start eating themselves up and it's going to kill me. You know, and I'm doing 1 meal a day, and, you know, like I can go for boxing sessions and I haven't eaten for like 20 hours, you know, like it's all in your head. When the bull market ends, so I think Bitcoin will drop by 85% like in 2018. Yes, I do. Maybe not 85, maybe 80%, maybe 95%, maybe 70%, but definitely something very substantial. Definitely. I think so, yeah. FORFLIES, thanks for the reply. We're getting the strictest lockdown in Norway next week. Agreed, we need to travel. You know, I think a lot of countries are going into very strict lockdown now so that they're safe in summer. And that makes sense. So that's a good thing. Actually, now that I say that out loud, it makes sense that Dubai is open now because you can't go outside in the summer here. It hits like 40, 50 degrees Celsius. And I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit. What is that in Fahrenheit? It must be like 140, you know, like something absolutely crazy. So I guess that's when they might reintroduce, you know, like really strict lockdowns. It doesn't seem like the bloody vaccines are working because you still got the strictest lockdowns in the world in countries like the UK, but they've already vaccinated people for like 20% of the population, which is pretty damn high. So it doesn't look like that's working. When is the next pump again? Yeah, I don't know. Do I consider Cardano and Ethereum also a shitcoin? Ethereum, no. Cardano, probably no, but I don't really have an opinion on that. I think Ethereum's good. Just because it's big and established. It's safer in my opinion. Is Bitforex a safe exchange? I've never heard of it. You know, when you're choosing an exchange, you don't want to go for something that's too small and unknown. Small is good. Phemex is small. They're definitely not small anymore, but compared to Binance, they're definitely small. But they're not a small exchange. You know, you want to go for something that's kind of like mid-tier, maybe Bybit. Bybit is a little bit more popular than Phemex, but it's just that the higher you go, the less the exchange will care about you. And that's why I prefer trading on exchanges like Phemex and Bybit, because I have contacts in there. If there's an issue, I can solve it. If there's an issue for you, I can solve it if you're referred by my links in the description as well. You know, these are special little benefits that you won't get with Binance. And you know, with Bitforex, it's just that they'll definitely give you special treatment because you're one of, you know, only 1,000 compared to one of 1,000,000. But it's not going to be reliable if it's too small. You know, that's something to keep in mind. The MRI indicator only worked this time. It rarely happens that the MRI is correct. Just look back. It worked this time, but it will not work the next time. You know, that's a good point, but I don't agree with you. I think that the MRI indicator actually worked quite well, and it's just that you know, one of the key things it does in a bullish trend is it helps you predict where is a good place to start taking profits. So it doesn't mean that the trend is going to, and this is the problem that a lot of people have. They're looking for black and white, tell me to sell, tell me to buy signals. And a lot of indicators, they're not going to do that, you know, because they can't. But what it can do, and what it does do quite well, is it tells you, you know, here is where it's probably a good place to start scaling out of a position, you know, or start expecting a pullback. And so, you know, what it becomes is not an indicator to depend on, but instead an indicator to add to your arsenal for additional confirmation or additional insight into the market that you might not already have. And for that, it's very, very important. So I think that's really important. You know, it's important to make that distinction. Are we on the fifth wave of an Elliott wave? I don't know, because I'm not a good Elliott wave analyst, unfortunately, so I can't really comment on that. The green screen is back. Most people should never leverage trade. Well, I mean, you know, I think most people... Here's the thing. I mean, you know, it's more risky than altcoin trading if you don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, it's way less risky. But the thing is, I mean, you know, if you're saying most people shouldn't leverage trade, then most people shouldn't trade crypto at all. Because it's, you know, it's not like you're going to be doing much better in vanilla crypto trading either. You know, you got to be real. Like, if your risk appetite tells you that you think most other people shouldn't leverage trade, then you're kind of, you know, you're losing perspective here, because crypto itself is super risky, you know. So it doesn't make sense to draw the line at leverage trading, in my opinion. If you're drawing a line of somewhere where, you know, you're saying people should never trade, then that line should be way before you even start talking about crypto, because crypto itself is super risky, you know. But in it, you know, I personally think you can really limit your risk by making calm, sensible analysis, conducting calm and sensible analysis, where you limit your risk by exercising good risk management and having, good strategies with your analysis. And that, you know, it suddenly turns quite high risk trading into very methodical trading. And that's where the risk is, I mean, you've seen it. My past trades have had zero risk, you know, within a matter of days, if not hours, you know. So no, just hours pretty much. So there you go. SAS Crypto, is Phemex illegal for US citizens? Because I refuse to break the law. It's really cool. I'm sure your government will love you for that. They're really gonna care. I don't know. I don't know if Phemex is illegal, because if US citizens have been able to use it, but derivatives are banned in the US. So, but Kraken is not, you know. So there's blurry lines, and you need to, if you really care that much, you need to consult a legal professional. But most people I've encountered don't care, don't have issues, you know. And I think it's really fucked up that the US government bans US citizens from using leverage products anyway, because it's not really there to protect you. Because if it was, they would also ban gambling. So it's pretty clear that in this case, this law is not there to protect you, it's to control you. And if you're okay with that being in the country of the free, then good for you. But I think that's really sad. FORFLIES, I don't think Bitcoin will fall to $52,000 because Bitcoin already found support at $56,000. I really want to know your support. I really want to know your thoughts. My thoughts are this. Bitcoin also already found support at $60,000 right here, and it still dropped down. So this is no different in my opinion. You could have said your exact same argument when Bitcoin bounced off 58,700 before, which was close to the previous all-time high. You could have said this at any point in this price action. I don't think Bitcoin is going to drop down to 56 because we already found support at 60. But that didn't really stop the market. So for me, it is a case of, you rewind the live stream to the beginning, and you will see that, actually, in my opinion, there's some pretty good arguments to make that Bitcoin might end up, dropping a little bit lower purely because we failed a strong area of support, in my opinion. So we might need to encounter another strong area of support, which according to my analysis is at 52K. Now maybe we won't drop, and that's fine because I'm not in a short position. I am looking to re-enter my long position, so hopefully we do rise. And like I said, as soon as and if we rise above $58,000, I think we could be looking at some more really, really stellar, beautiful rises upwards. Have I ever had a stop loss blown through? Yes, but a long time ago, and it was down to bad practice on my part most of the time. FORFLIES, do I worry on monthly RSI above 97? No, not at all. It's probably been above 70 for a really long time, so I don't really care. Do I think it will fall below 50K? I mean, it's certainly possible. It's possible. I mean, there's support all the way down. You saw it on the one-day Ichimoku Cloud, so I definitely think it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. Am I expecting a lower correction? Cheers from Switzerland. Welcome to the live stream from Switzerland, Joel. Am I expecting a lower correction? Yeah, probably, but I don't have a strong opinion on it. I definitely think it's more likely, but I don't have a strong opinion on it. Why is it crashing again? It's not crashing again, bro. Like, nothing has happened. What is my favorite altcoin? Ethereum. After that, probably Cardano. It's all about control and money. There you go. FORFLIES, a man after my own freedom-loving heart. Bam. Don't want to get my Bitcoin confiscated. Yeah, that's fair enough. You know, I mean, a lot of people insulate themselves from that by having a VPN. But of course, I mean, you know, you've got to choose what suits your risk appetite. Kraken is available in all of the United States apart from New York State, if I'm not mistaken. And that they allow you up to 5 times leverage, which is plenty. 5 times leverage is really good. So, you know, if you are worried about your Bitcoin getting confiscated, then that's definitely a valid concern. And I mean, that's never happened as far as I know. But, you know, I mean, again, it depends on your risk appetite. Can I talk about the bad practice on stop loss error? So this is, like I said, you know, earlier I mentioned the Bitmex tutorial. The Bitmex tutorial, which you can find by typing this into YouTube. Look, if you don't know what leverage means, then give it 20 minutes and you're going to know everything about it after watching this video. I have to warn you, by the way, I made this video like 3-4 years ago. So I was super young. It's kind of embarrassing. My voice was very different. But this video, it'll take you like 20 minutes. I think it's 18 minutes long, and you will not have any more questions about leverage trading. And by the way Bitmex works is how almost every other exchange works. So you only need to learn it once, and then the buttons are just slightly different, but you're going to know exactly how it works. And it was on Bitmex where I used like a stop market order. I'm sorry, a stop limit order. And you know, I knew that Bitmex was, you guys remember the server overload issues? Those of you who do, you are OGs in the market. They used to have a lot of server overload issues where the servers would just fail when the market moved too much and they wouldn't execute orders. And I made the mistake of using stop limit orders. So if the limit order does not execute, it's not going to execute, and so the stop loss doesn't trigger. And you know, whereas my position might have closed at minus 20%, I wake up the next day and it's at minus 60%. The bad practice on my part was not taking into account that Bitmex has server overload issues. For example, the bad practice on my part was not switching to a more reliable exchange like Phemex, linked in the description. This was where the bad practice was, and so I absolutely have had it happen. And this is why I always say that you need to insulate yourself from problems like this by having multiple accounts on multiple different exchanges where each of these accounts are funded up and ready to go if you have a problem. One of them gets hacked, you can trade on the other one. One exchange has some downtime, you can trade on the other one. One of them has server overload issues, which is also downtime. You have a backup available. It's not smart, in my opinion, to be trading with anything that you consider to be serious money, but you're not prepared for contingencies where things go wrong and they're out of your control. There might be a very good trade that you want to take where you've done good technical analysis, you've taken good risk management practices, and all of that really, really good stuff, but the exchange goes down. Who's the idiot at that point? You know, like, you've really shot yourself in the foot if you haven't insulated yourselves from those problems. 1 second. So those are some important things to keep in mind, in my opinion. Guys, I am going to take only a final few questions now and then head off. We are close to the 2-hour mark. It's been a good live stream apart from the initial hiccups at the beginning, so I am sorry about that. I'm not sure what caused them, and we've never had this issue before. Like I said, on my side, everything was completely fine. I even tested the audio and it was completely fine. So I have no idea why it messed up so much, but I'm glad we fixed it within 15 minutes. It was pretty fast. And we did have a good rest of our live stream after that. So before I do take your final questions, one more time, if you do want to join the VIP group, you want to see how these people have been able to turn really, really impressive gains for a lot of the time for the first time ever. How this guy, again, this is the most impressive testimonial we've received in quite a while, in my opinion. This person less than 2 months ago, those of you who are subscribed to this channel, you will remember this person less than 2 months ago made enough money to buy a house after joining VIP. And then he bought this house, he took out his Bitcoins and he bought the house, and he kept a little bit of Bitcoin still in the market, and that Bitcoin has more than doubled from 0.25 to 0.8 in less than 2 months. because he messaged me less than 2 months ago selling his Bitcoin. After that, less than 2 months later, he's more than doubled what he already put in. This is somebody who's been in VIP for a while, but just over the last 2 months has pulled very, very impressive results. And obviously this is, kind of the top end of what people in VIP achieve, but also something that's a lot more realistic, something that's a lot more achievable. Just somebody who is going through a little bit of a rough patch in trading has been able to do very well right here, reeling in some of those losses and starting to come back on track with a 31% profit, so something that's a lot more realistic and manageable for a lot of people right there, super attainable. So like I said, VIP is open to you if you're ready to watch how I'm trading in real time. We've got a bunch of tutorials on it, so if you don't really know what I'm doing, you don't understand how I'm doing certain things, we have tutorials on that content. If you want access to one of our courses for free, then you can also get the information on it by following these steps on screen, and just ask us about it if you're curious, if you have any questions as well. Follow the first link in the description down below, then click on the @FORFLIES button, and then click on the send message button right here to ask me how to join VIP, and I'll give you all the information on that right there. Like I said, if it's not me, it'll be my assistants that respond to you. Most of you have already been responded to, so if you do have any final questions about VIP, then the steps to ask are right here on screen. And like I said, we are actually running again another promotion. I'm not sure if this is going to load, but another promotion right here where VIP, we ran this before we hit 1,000, but for the next 5 people, we mentioned that VIP yearly memberships are 75% off our old prices. And so if you do want to get into VIP for a whole year, that means watching me trade for a whole year, having access to the lessons I'm writing down in my trading journal, for example. There's so much, having access to the VIP library. There's a lot that you can that will tell you all about in a list when you reach out. If you want lifetime access to our advanced academy worth $2,700, if you want phone calls with me, invitations to our yacht parties in Dubai that we're never going to talk about publicly, then once again, the steps to join are on screen, and just ask specifically for the yearly membership, and we'll also send you the information for our yearly package. So if we have any final questions, I will take them now. Ingo, it's your first time on this channel. Great content. Thank you as well. You're very, very welcome. I'm glad you're liking it. Someone is saying RIP Ethereum. Let's see if anything interesting is happening to Ethereum. Nope, nothing. Hi from Hamburg. Hello, Tommy. The trip was easily forecasted by the bearish divergence on the RSI. Could I show? No, because there's almost always a bearish divergence. So, it's like saying, well, I mean, there's a saying that a broken clock is correct twice a day. Like there's always a bearish divergence. So, like you might be depending on it 10 times and it will succeed twice. That's not good enough in my opinion. Someone wants me to look at Bitcoin dominance, so let me go ahead and do that. Let's see if this, I don't really know why you want me to look at Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't really tell me anything particularly interesting here. I think the key thing is Bitcoin definitely has a lot of dominance to give up. And that means we could be looking at another alt season happening kind of this year where dominance starts to shoot down. But that's the only thing I could say. How is Dubai through Corona? I've never been there. It's not very different with the exception of having to wear a mask. I don't really tell any difference. I'm not really a party guy. I'm not a guy that goes to clubs or anything. So I'm not affected by those policies. For the most part, it's standard daily life. I mean, every office is still running. Every restaurant is still open. Every bar, every beach club, it's pretty normal. So that's good. If you want to come, I would definitely recommend that you come now. It's a great time to be here. The weather is still good. Tourist season has pretty much ended. It's a good time to be here right now. All right, guys. So I think with that, I will close off this live stream. Where do I think my next entry point will be? 3 options. I will either enter a long position roughly where we are right now if we keep on trading sideways, or I will enter a long position down towards 52k, or I will enter a long position above 58k. So those are the 3 options I'm considering. Those are the only options I'm considering. I'm not considering going short on the market, and that's because I definitely I definitely think that there's some good potential in the market to keep rising higher quite well as time goes on. 1 second, bear with me. Someone asked me if I'm on the ignore list. You're not on the ignore list. No, I just get super busy sometimes, and so do my assistants, because we get a lot of people messaging every single day, like a lot. I can't even count like how many people have messaged us in just like the past week. It's insane. So sometimes we do miss messages. Anyway, guys, I think from there, I am going to be, and that's just on Telegram. That's not even counting my Twitter DMs, my Instagram DMs. It's, you know, obviously, the fame comes with a price. But yeah, I am going to round it off there. So please go ahead, hit up the likes if you've enjoyed this one final time. It's so helpful for me. It will also make YouTube recommend these videos to you a little bit more if you're enjoying them. Subscribe to the channel as well to make sure that you don't miss the future content. Tick the bell so you get notified about these videos and live streams. They're obviously very time sensitive. Shout out to Phil with the pineapple emojis right there. We haven't seen them for a while, but thank you very much. And do tick the bell. Do join our free Telegram channel if you want more notifications on our live streams, if you want to see a little bit more about the analysis we share, if you want some more insights on my trades and different things like that. That can all be found by following the first link in the description down below. From there, ladies and gents, I'm going to be heading